Hey, I'm Nick Rollo. Welcome to the Producer Place. I'm a pop producer from Australia. Welcome to the channel. It can be really hard to keep motivation as a music producer or as an artist or a mixing engineer. So I thought I'd give my 2 cents on how you can stay more motivated and get stuff done and continue pushing forward in your career. If you find this helpful, smash the like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell just in case I don't post particularly regularly. Stay up to date. Let's jump in. Motivation is a tricky one. It comes and goes. You hear a lot of people talking about how it's important to not rely on motivation because if you rely on motivation too much, then when it doesn't show up, you do no work. I second this. It's super important to have routines and schedules in place to really push yourself forward. I'm not always the best at this, but when I have had really consistent routines, it has been amazing. It's been so much better. So I think the number one tip that I have for making sure that you stay motivated is to have a routine of your actual craft. In my case, for a long time, and I've stopped doing this now, but I'd like to get back into it. But for a long time, I spent an hour a day doing music production. And this was kind of like a mixed bag of things. For the most part, I just wanted to practice production. I'd spend an hour, I'd be watching a YouTube tutorial and I'd be like, cool, let's put this into implementation or let's implement it. I would actually be applying things I was learning and also just practicing, It was just like hours in the trenches, and it was just an hour where I was just specifically doing music production. And this applies if you're a songwriter. Spend an hour every day just writing songs or just like writing melodies or trying to improve songs. If you're a mixing engineer, trying mixing things. It's a really skill-related hour, let's say. It could be shorter, it could be longer, but it's just really focused. You're just spending time doing it. What I found when I sat down to just do a bit of production is that inevitably, say I was trying to come up with cool synth sounds. I was like, let's figure out this new synth I got. After that hour or 30 minutes in, I would inevitably come up with something cool and then I would make a song from it. So that hour turned into a way more productive outcome than purely just spending an hour doing something. And I feel like that's the magic of this tip. The second thing to keep in mind is it's important to have goals. And I think more importantly than the goals themselves is just like, why are you doing this? Are you trying to write an album? I mean, why are you trying to write an album? Why are you trying to produce? What's the goal in the highest level sense? What's driving you forward to do this? In my position as a producer and a mixing engineer, I want to help other people make this amazing music. I love music, as we all do. I really want to help other people create music that they love and they're really proud of. I feel like that's kind of what drives me. People might have, if you're a songwriter or an artist, you might be driven by you just want to relate to people or have people relate to your music and what your messaging is. You might want to create these incredible moments for them where they hear the music and they get goosebumps. There's lots of different reasons, but I feel like having a driving why is really helpful on those days when you're not feeling motivated. You can get up and say, well, I have to do this because of this reason. Make sure that you have breaks. Breaks are super important. You can do a bunch of different methods for how long you're actually working for and then having breaks, but just incorporate breaks. They can be short, 5 minutes. They can be longer if you need a lunch break. Don't burn yourself out. It's really easy to just sit in front of the computer for the entire day, and at the end of it you have a headache and you're like, I feel like my existence is fading into the abyss. Just take breaks. You'll come back more refreshed. You'll feel better. You'll be ready to tackle the tasks that you're doing, and I feel like this really helps just keeping up the motivation when it's sort of beginning to wane. Acknowledge it's going to take a long time to get where you want to go. These skills in music production or songwriting or being an artist or being a mixing engineer or a mastering engineer, whatever it is, any creative thing, it takes a while. Inevitably, you're not going to get to the place you're trying to go straight away. It's going to take a while. I feel like if you acknowledge that you're not going to become a pro in a week, those realistic expectations really help encourage you when you do see progress. Even if it's a small amount of progress, you'll be like, nice, I actually got better at that thing. That kick drum sounds good. That's sick. Rather than if you thought you were going to be amazing straight away, and you got that small incremental benefit, you wouldn't actually care about it. You have to take the small wins. They really push you forward, and I feel like that's so fundamental in like staying motivated and keeping things going. I feel like I could go on about this for a million years, but the last thing I'm going to say for this particular video is have other people who you can talk to who are also doing the same thing. You know, whether it's other artists or other producers or mixing engineers, having people that when you're feeling flat, you can say, hey, like, how are you feeling? Or you just talk to them and they're like, I just made this sick thing, it's sick. And then you're like, whoa, that's dope. How did they do that? Maybe it's competition, maybe it's just awe, but you kind of push forward and you do stuff yourself. It's really motivating having people around you who are doing what you're trying to do. So I feel like that's personally been a huge factor in my own improvement and consistency over the years, is having close mates who are also ambitious and also doing the things that I'm trying to do. Because when you see them kind of pushing ahead, you're like, oh, I better push harder too, because otherwise I'm going to fall behind. I feel like that friendly competition just like keeps me going. Maybe it's not healthy all the time, but I don't know, it works for me. I hope these have been helpful. If they have, hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll catch you next video. Have a good one.